at our house, first of all. So we really have lights.
You know, it's funny. My horoscope has been saying the things you and I have been doing. Listen to today's horoscope. Today is an 8. Research and write your ideas, thoughts, and vision. Artistic and musical expression flowers. Decisions made now can have lasting results. Make a startling revelation. Yeah. And it's been all the horoscopes I've been reading have been talking about the things you and I are doing.
Can you talk about when you first met Alun?
Yes. I was teaching at Shenendahoa, and across the hall from me taught another third grade teacher. And when she met me and knew of my various interests and so on, she kept saying to me over and over again, "You have to meet my friend Evan Pritchard." And I said, "Yeah, someday." And she said, "He's going to be in a play." I saw him in the play, and of course he was very good. And then she said, "Well, the cast is going to go over to this restaurant, so we'll go over." I ordered a ham sandwich because I was hungry. Well, when the ham sandwich came, he was hungry too. And he said, "Mind if I share that with you?" And I said, "No, not at all." So anyway, he shared the sandwich and we got talking. He started then becoming the Alun that I truly loved. His sense of humor started coming out. And he was making jokes. I remember I had a coat with lots of fur, fur collar, and he had a coat with a fur collar. And he kept saying, "Oh, our coats should get together. You never know what would happen." And silly stuff, just silly stuff. And we really talked the night away. I mean, it was late when we got there. But that's how I met him. And then he said, "Can I call you for a real date?" and so on. And that's how we met.
I think I'll follow this lady, see where she's going.
I read, 50 pages.
Oh, you want to take a picture of me taking a picture of you? Go ahead.
I didn't want to get in her picture.
She's going to get a picture of me taking a picture of her. Okay, say cheese, Mary. I'm taking a picture of you.
This is one of the clocks that Alun made for me for an anniversary about the Fantastics. And it even plays, I hope. It plays our favorite song, which was "Try to Remember." But when we first were dating, this is before we even got married. I don't think it'll stop. Thank you. So when we first started dating, that's when the play, a brand new play on Broadway, came out called The Fantastics. Well, we heard the song, "Try to Remember," and Alun could sing it, and he sang it to me. And we would go out on dates up in a little town outside of Vermont in Whitehall, New York. And there was a piano player there. He knew that "Try to Remember" was our favorite song. So he would play the song as we walked in to the Skene Manor to have drinks or dinner, to meet friends or whatever. And so that's the song we heard when we were just dating. never saw too much with Alun, except when I went away to Russia. Alun didn't have much interest in going, so I had to leave him alone. I came back from Russia. The house, I could see things weren't the way they needed to be. So my being away from him was my first time I saw that he was starting with his Alzheimer's, of forgetting things, not being able to do things, not being able to keep track of things. But we couldn't tell for sure if that's what it was, if it was a dementia, just what it was. We got associated with the Alzheimer's Association, and I literally had to drag him, and I think he was in denial of a lot of his Alzheimer things that happened. And it's a very progressive disease.
And I think I see a familiar face. Mary? And away we go. And we're back to Shelley.
This ring is 24 karat gold. They don't even make things 24 karat gold. And it was his grandmother's ring. Anyway, that was her ring, and inside are all these like Welsh symbols and stuff. So that was my wedding band, which I can't even get off. It's permanent. We'd be sitting right in there, and he'd say, "Well, don't you think it's about time we go home?" And I'd say, "Alun, you are home." And he'd say, "No, this isn't home." And I said, "Yes, it is your house." And he'd say, "No, I want to go home. Can we go home now?" And then I would say to him, after he said this numbers of times, because it would be a certain time at night he'd want to go home. He thought we were visiting someplace. And I'd say, "All right, look up at the pictures." I said, "Look, there across the way, there's a picture of you and I on the cruise. Look over there, there's your mother's picture. You know, there's their wedding picture. Look and see my pictures. This is our house." He just wouldn't accept it. I don't know where he thought we were. You know, where he wanted to go home. So that was a clear sign that it was not just forgetting things, not that. It was clearly Alzheimer's, you know, thinking he was in another place.
Make what move?
It just got gradually worse. And I would comfort him by telling him stories about so many wonderful things that we did. And he would be totally engrossed. By this time he wasn't talking, and he was eating very little. Alun was no longer Alun. At one point, thinking back, just earlier that week, when I was over holding his hand so we wouldn't fight and telling him stories, when I let go of his hand, he just grabbed me and brought me down and gave me a great big kiss. And little did I know that that would be the last kiss I got from him. And that's when I lost Alun. It was the saddest thing of my whole life. The saddest.
January 17. And a little different than it was the last time we were here. Last time, quite a bit of ice. This time, some snow. In fact, I'm crunching around. Mary's in the window. I think I saw her. Hello! We're just going out on cross-country skis again.
And the grieving now comes in waves. And I read this thing about it. They said, if it comes in waves, the first time it comes, they said, you're totally shipwrecked. You can't do anything. But if you learn to swim through the waves, you'll make it. And that's the truth.
Try to remember the kind of September when life was slow and oh, so mellow. Try to remember the kind of September.